Hey everybody, it's Sally. Yes, look what happened. I actually did color my hair that I threatened to do like 6, 9 months ago. I said, "Oh, come on, I'm ready for a change. Let me do something to my hair." Well, it's been quite a crazy week with hair color at my house. And I don't want to bore you with the details on this. This is temporary. I mean, it's permanent, but it's temporary to me. I've already stripped it once because I did something that was too dark and too red, and my husband did not like it. I hadn't read the box that said never go darker than 2 shades from your normal color. So I didn't work up to this dark. I just sort of threw it at my head and it stuck. And I can't really, I did strip it once. And this is the alternative. This is light brown. Doesn't look very light, does it? But anyway, it was an experiment in chasing after that elusive youth, that elusive fountain of youth, to see if it made me look less tired and old. Like my daughter always said, my blonde hair made me look tired and old. So having said that, it's a perfect segue into what I'm here to talk to you about today. I haven't made a video in a while, I know, and I'm going to catch up on that. I'm supposed to get my phone tomorrow. We're going to Oxford to pick out a phone. So I think we can get a plan, and I think I'm going to get a free phone. So I'll be ready to take videos and upload and all the things I promised I was going to do 3 months ago when we moved here. Anyway, I'm here because, speaking of aging, this is National Menopause Month, and we all know Rosemary's had some health issues in the last 4 weeks, or so, and that's made me think about her a lot. I certainly have done some reading to try to follow up with some of the things that her doctor has said it could be, because they talk about it could be her thyroid, it could be menopause, it could be anemia, it could be a combination of all three. So let me tell you a little anecdote about moi. I am through menopause. I will be 55 the end of October this year. Um, and right when I was going to have my RNY, my body started to go haywire. Now you're in perimenopause the minute basically you step into your 40s. You start to get your eyesight starts to get a little screwy, and the next thing you know, you've got perimenopause symptoms that you don't even recognize that that's what that is. And then it takes you a good, 8 to 10 years later, and you finally get through the mess. But in my case, right before I was going to have my RNY, I was, men do not want to hear this. I was having major gushing issues. I never had gushing issues before. Basically, the lining of my uterus, blah, 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 was getting old, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't releasing normally. It would release all at one time every once in a while. So I said, to heck with this. It was so bad I couldn't leave the house. And I'd never had any of those issues in my life. Very normal, very average. So I went and said, let's just do something and get rid of this thing before I go and have this RNY, because I don't want anything messing my chances up of succeeding with my RNY. So what I ended up with was not a DNC. I ended up with an IUD that released low levels of progesterone into my system so that I would not gush anymore, and eventually over the course of a year or so I should just pass on through menopause with no muss, no fuss. Okay. I can say that that's probably pretty much what happened. I lost my weight. It did not the RNC, the IUD with a little bit of progesterone releasing into my system did not affect my weight loss. Blah 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 blah. Okay. That having said that, I've been done, fully done for a couple years now. The other night, after all this stuff with Rosemary, um, and it was a long day, I will not lie. I have one thing that was worrying me. The other day I'm in the bed and I turn over to move the clock that's by the bed closer to where I can see it in the night. I have to squeeze it to have the light go on. It's because we don't have a lot of plugs, it's not electric, whatever. And Steve says, "What are you doing?" I said, "I'm moving the phone." He says, "What phone?" His phone's not over there. The phone's with him. I said, "No, not the phone, the camera." Oh, hello. What's wrong with Sally's brain? Something is definitely wrong with Sally's cognitive behavior. And it really, really frightened me because I knew it was the clock and I didn't struggle for the word, but the wrong word came out twice. And that's not the first time. I would say in the last few years, gosh, generally, I've found that I get very frustrated. There's certain times I'll find that I'm having a hard day remembering the name of something, the noun for something, not the name of a person. Well, sometimes that, but and not that I don't know how to do something or remember how to do something or remember where I am, but I can't remember the name for a thing. or a place or whatever. Okay, so that's been really frightening me and frustrating me. And when that happened the other night, I really freaked out. So I got on the computer. Lo and behold, what did I find? An article called Menopause Power, Brain Fog, Night Sweats, Hot Flashes, etc., etc. Well, I thought about Rosemary and I was trying to research for myself, and this is what I want to tell you. That brain fart that I was having was beyond a normal one. It was frightening to me, and I thought, Lord, I have early onset Alzheimer's. After reading this article online, which is a lengthy article, I saw so many things in this article that are exactly what Rosemary is having. Not that I don't believe that's the only thing that's going on with her. I believe she can have anemia. I believe she can have thyroid metabolic issues, because you'll find out a lot of that is directly related to going through menopause. Okay, but this is the part that got me. Let me read it to you. Let me see, I won't be able to find it. Here it is. Cognitive decline. Decreased concentration, focus, learning, memory, language, spatial abilities, whatever. Forgetting normal, everyday words. Loss of nouns. More than embarrassing, this can be frightening because women worry that they may be developing early onset dementia. Hello. So I just want to show you that that is what kind of led me to this reading group. And then I know that that is part of the fact that I am living in a hormonal imbalance state, a state of hormonal imbalance, as is every woman will that goes through menopause. Perimenopause, menopause is a hormonal imbalance condition. Okay, that's the first thing we need to remember. What time is it? It's 7 minutes out. I'm going to just stop this here and say, well, let me give the intro and then I'll make a second video. And if you don't have time to watch the whole thing, you can just watch either part that you want. But it says menopause signs and symptoms, and I'll put the links to these articles below. Okay. Most women are familiar with this common signs and symptoms of menopause: hot flashes, night sweats, loss of menstrual period, vaginal dryness, decreased sex drive, loss of sexual sensation, difficulty achieving orgasm, bone loss, changes in hair, skin, nails. You might be surprised to learn that there are many other signs and symptoms and conditions that are attributable to menopause, which are not typically recognized as such. Rather, they are viewed as and treated as separate, unrelated health issues, or are simply attributed to just getting older. There, dear. Pat, pat, pat. Yeah, if it was men going through menopause this way, they wouldn't be pat, pat, patting them on the hand. They'd have a drug for it right away. Anyway, I want to talk to you a little bit about this because this article talks about menopause promotes degenerative diseases. So before I go on to this extensive list that I'm just going to run through, so if you recognize some things in yourself, do some reading, and be your own best advocate. Now, let me put this in light of the fact that at the age I'm at, and I had my surgery 3 years ago, so I was already in my 50s, my early 50s. Many more women are having their RNYs and their surgeries in their early 50s and their late to mid 40s. And a lot of the things we're attributing to our RNY issues or malabsorption issues, some of that can be attributed, we'd be going through some of that anyway. The thinning hair, the drying hair, the thinning nails, the dry skin. One of the things in particular that hit me that I read in here, and I am going to go over this in a minute, is that Rosemary was dehydrated. Well, she drinks more water than anybody I know. And being dehydrated while drinking lots of water is a hormonal imbalance issue, which is a menopause symptom. So you guys hold on. I don't want to bore everybody that's not interested in menopause, but I just thought I would throw that out there, and let me come back and do part 2 so you can see some of the things on this list. If it helps you, it's something all women are going to go through eventually, so you might as well have a clue. And in light of having weight loss surgery, there's even more to be considered. I'll see you in a minute.